Hi guys, and welcome to WeWork. This is WeWork Moorgate, so it's one of the 10 buildings that we have here in London. We've also got an 11th one opening next month, so that is Waterhouse Square. Just to introduce myself, my name is James, I'm one of the community team here. I just want to get a little bit of feedback from you guys. How many of you guys have actually been to a WeWork before? Could you show your hands? About 40%, 50%, so there's 40, 50, 60% of you guys who haven't been here before. So just to do a quick introduction to WeWork. We are a service office provider. We've been doing this for 6 years now, so it's 3 years initially just in America, and then the next 3 years we've grown exponentially. So from 2013 to 2016, and now we have over 100 buildings open worldwide. So that's anywhere from Shanghai, America, and also Europe, so the likes of Berlin, or also the likes of Amsterdam as well. So there's all sorts of ranges that we've got across the world. What we provide is a service office space, but it's not just a service office space. We also provide community and a huge platform for you guys as creators to develop your companies and also develop as a person within the companies as well. So what we like to do is offer you different events such as tonight, and then also different opportunities to integrate within the community, network, as well as socialize with other companies. We have a referral app, so if anyone doesn't feel like this space may be right for themselves, but could be right for one of their friends, then please do come to myself or Sam, who's just at the back right, your back left-hand corner there, and we will be able to help you out with any queries or any questions that you've got. Aside from that, this building is actually the largest co-working space in the world, holding a capacity of 3,100 people. So I hope that you enjoy the event tonight, and I'd like to introduce Vincent to the stage, please. Please give a big hand for Vincent.
By a show of hands, how many people have launched something before? How many people want to launch something? And how many people have a massive marketing budget to spend on launching it? It's really hard to launch things. I find it's one of the most common things that people underestimate. They tend to think that press alone will save you. Firstly, it rarely does, and secondly, it's very hard to get press. So I constructed this talk outside of my normal talks on growth hacking and personal branding because no one knows how to acquire traffic and users, and probably less than 1 in 100 founders have any sort of impressive launch or know what they're going to be doing in the first 1 to 3 months. So all of their life they're putting into this project is a waste of time. There's also very little practical information on how to launch anything. Pretty much every guide to launch a product is all off the back of get a lot of press on day one. And that's fine. Press is the single biggest driver of a mountain of traffic really quickly. But at the same time, if you don't get that press, then your product is dead. So I constructed this talk so that anyone with a product, whether you can get press with it or not, will be able to launch something, will be able to launch a Kickstarter, a crowdfunding campaign, and be successful. So here are some things I launched. Planet Ivy, I took it from 0 to 1 million visitors a month within 1 year. That was a slow launch. We used the lean startup methodology, create a basic product, iterate, see what's working, and then improve on it. Screen Robot, we had the formula for a launch, so that went to 0 to 1 million visitors a month in 100 days. Secret Source Conference, our conference series had over 800 attendees on the very first day. So we got a team of 11 people to work on it for free as a community project. It was a really interesting experiment because it involved a lot of people, but we pulled together some massive speakers, 2 great venues, and made that happen from nothing. I launched an agency which had immediate agency revenues and a very fast launch from day one. My first ever speaking gig in America was South by Southwest B2B, and to prepare for that launch, I gave 6 months of talks in the UK to perfect what I was doing. and it was voted best workshop at South by Southwest, despite being pretty much my first talk there. So preparing the way we're doing it over and over is a great strategy. And Secret Sauce, my first digital book, we did with 1 month's preparation, has raised just under $75,000 so far, and that's where I'll be pulling the majority of these examples from. So this was our chart for Kickstarter. So as you can see, we had a very big first day, a pretty big second day, and then it was just an ongoing walk all the way up to the end until the last 2 days where it spiked again. So when you're launching a crowdfunding campaign, the first 2 days are going to be extremely important, and the last 2, but your chart will be flat if you do not do stuff every single day to build it. So we'll be going through step-by-step guides to create a pre-launch campaign, how to get traffic, users, revenue, how to have a big first day, and every tool, piece of software you need. So as a disclaimer, you guys are totally fucked. I mean, you really got to understand how hard it is to launch something. I never see people worrying when they're launching a product. You should definitely be worrying. You need to presume everything is going to go wrong. Because it inevitably will. I think people are far too blasé about launching and far too confident in their own abilities. So my job today is to help you guys unfuck yourselves. So when you launch and you have 0 on the board, it's kind of like when you get a sexually transmitted disease. You're like, how did this happen? What did I do wrong? How could I have prevented this? Not that I've ever had one, but I assume. But this is what your first day is going to look like. 0 downloads if you're an app. No one pledging if you're a Kickstarter. No one coming to your website if you're a blog. You have to do pre-launch work. It's one of the most important things that you can do. So, I'll be giving out free condoms to help you not catch that disease. So, you only need to do 3 things to launch successfully. You need a product people want, traffic to that landing page, and a landing page which converts well. So you can split everything you need to do into these 3 sections. And if you do these 3 relatively well, there's a really good chance you're going to have a great launch. So remember, no one cares about you and no one cares about your product. This goes back to that overconfidence I find most founders have. The default state is you're going to fail. So you have to have the mentality of whatever I do is going to go wrong, so I better do a lot of things. So begin with a premortem. So a premortem is you pretend it's 3 months or 6 months in the future, and you're having a board meeting and you're talking about why the launch failed or why the product failed. It's a VC told me about this a while ago. It's a really nice idea. So you go, why didn't we launch well? Why didn't anyone use our product? And then you work backwards to solve those problems. So firstly, no one wanted our product. So this is obviously probably the main source of failure, that no one cares about what you're doing. So fix that by reading the mum test. The mum test is the best book ever written on customer validation. So when you tell your mum you're doing a cooking app, she says, that sounds amazing, I definitely like to try it. Meanwhile, she has a cooking book on her shelf she's never used. When you go to a networking event, you tend to go to people, I'm launching an app, what do you think? And people will say, well, that sounds great, let me give you my email and I'll get back to you. And then they never speak to you again. What you should do is say, my friend is launching an app, I don't know if it's any good, what do you think? And you'll get much better feedback. There's also questions you should never ask people such as, would you buy this product, would you pay for this product? Would is a terrible word, no one really knows what they want. Create a free sign-up form. If no one signs up or shares to their friends, this is a bad sign. If you announce it on social channels which have a few followers and no one touches it, that's a bad sign. And one of my favorites, can you write down 5 people who would buy it off you right now? This number should really be 20. Personas will do at a real push, but ideally you need to know your ideal customer personally so you can go out and talk to them. So I had an idea for a side project recently and I was really excited about it until it got down to, can I list 20 people who would pay money for it right now? I couldn't get to 20, so that was basically the end of it. So you should be really close to your target market. So I've been giving talks to startup founders for the last year, so I really understood what their pain points were before I launched the book. So, secondly, not enough people waiting for it on day one. So, do a pre-launch campaign. I'll go into the basics of that. Make sure every single person possible knows about it. You need to have an explosive first day and what's known as a surround sound effect. That is, people are on Twitter and they see people talking about your product, people are on Facebook, people get email mails about your product. You need to be everywhere on day one and day two, and then 1 week later you can plan for another push, or 1 day later after that. So you need to be everywhere so that people keep seeing you 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Even people who are casually interested in you will go and buy it. Finally, not clear how to buy it, bad user experience, bad conversion. So keep your website clear. You only want them to do one thing. Kickstarter and Indiegogo are naturally optimized for this. There's no outbound links to social channels, there's just buy now button. So if you're doing a landing page for an app or a product, it needs to do the same thing. Don't have your Facebook and Twitter buttons on there. Don't have blog, FAQ, all of that. If you're doing a pre-launch, the only button they should be able to click is the one that says sign up now or leave your email. Your site should be fast and mobile optimized, so using something like Unbounce or WordPress is good for this. Too many fields to fill in will put people off, so keep that as minimal as possible. If you're asking for payment, have as many payment options as possible. That will reduce the bounce rate there. This is Unbounce. Pretty much, if you're not technical, this is the best place to build a one-page landing site. It's $49 for a month, and that covers up to 5,000 users. So if you have an idea for a product or a service or an event or whatever you want to produce, I would create an Unbounce page, get some traffic to it, and you can automatically change the headlines so you can see which one converts better. So this is all being also optimized by millions of people to get to the point where they start to see you. So creating your video on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or your landing page, the two things we did. Number one, rawshorts.com. So that doesn't really cost anything at all, and it is all of those flashy words come over your images and all of those flashy animations. So you can make it look professional quality, and you can do it from your bedroom with no editing skills needed. If you outsource something like this, it's only ever going to be a back and forth via emails. I don't like this font, the words aren't matching up with my music and so on. So by creating it yourself, you take all of that out of your film team's hands. You should be getting a professional film crew to film it. So I had a good friend, Andre, producer, giving a shout out if you want to work with him. But it should be, generally speaking, you against the camera talking about your product as clear as possible, like high definition quality, good sound, but use raw shots for the animation and use premium beat for the music. So I'm a big fan of getting your video to be like a movie trailer. So premium beat has thousands of completely royalty-free tracks that have been specifically created to give away for you. So you can buy a track for about $100 and you can use that any way you want. So you can have super professional music as well, so you don't have to pay thousands to someone to do that. If you're scared, stop now in terms of traffic. Whatever you're doing, you need to bomb the hell out of everyone who is finding out about you. So you're going to need to be on a lot of channels and you're going to need to do a lot. You can't be thinking, I don't want to be a nuisance. You do want to be a nuisance. You have to be everywhere. It could be that you're going to get a lot of press. It could be that you have a lot of Twitter or Instagram influencers. Whatever it is, you need a ton of traffic. Unfortunately, the industry standard for everything in terms of conversion is 1%. If you get 100 people to your website, 1% will actually buy it. If you get 1,000, about 100 will, and so on. So it's really, really difficult to get that traffic. You need to get a lot of it, because only a little will convert. So I'm a big fan of planning out every single potential customer. So Twitter, we're going to reach out to 10,000 people a week. Facebook, we're going to do paid ads. Instagram, we're going to do paid shout-outs. We're going to reach out to 50 blogs and expect 10 of them to cover us. We're going to organise a meetup once a month before we launch and the day we launch and when we finish launching. So with this real life connection, it's far stronger than just a message on a computer screen. So when we decided to do a Kickstarter, I was on a plane from Boston to Denver and I came up with 19 different traffic channels in like 3 hours that we could try and get traffic from in order to point to our Kickstarter. Some of them didn't work, and some of them worked really well. So one of the main things people ask about our own Kickstarter is, what was the magic growth hack you did? And I love to say that we created a fake profile of a girl on Tinder, a message board saying you should start a company, buy this guide. But we didn't really do anything. We just did solid lead bullets as opposed to one silver bullet. We found all the people who we were connected with on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and our email list, made them aware that we were launching this, and then on day one we told them it's now available to buy, and they bought it. Yes, we had built up a few followers on the channels, but it's nothing substantial that anyone here can do in about 3 to 6 months. So it's all about having a free community interested in what you're doing, and start building your lists now. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all of those places have people who will listen to what you're doing. So start building those now, even if you're not launching in the next 6 months. And you also need to have your dream shops, so the big PR, the big influencers. So you should also be trying for those, but the key is that can't be your only acquisition method. Because if for whatever reason people don't like your face or your product, they're not going to feature you, and that's the end of your product. So have these shout-outs planned, but don't rely on them. Track your links. So Google Analytics made this really easy to do. There's a link here. The last slide has my email on, and I'll email you the slides that you can click, and you can track every link, so you know where all your traffic comes from. 1,000 true fans is all you need. Everyone wants millions of people to know about their product, but actually 1,000 true fans will cover you. 1,000 true fans in anything in life will be enough for you to live off that. Whether you're a musician, an artist, someone who sells services, if you have 1,000 people who like what you do and will generally buy everything you do, that's enough to live on, if not more. So normally cultivate through giving stuff away for free. So writing blogs, giving talks, putting on events. Through all of that giving away for free, you build goodwill and people willing to listen to you. Most people, when they're launching something, they do what's known as a drive-by shooting. They come out of nowhere, try and hit you with something and expect you to convert, even though they haven't heard of you before. So you have to build that in advance, and then they will share what you're doing with their friends, and their friends trust them, so it will grow from there. So some people still say, I don't do social media. You just don't get to say that anymore. You can say that if maybe you have a fantastic real life network and you're out every night and your phone is buzzing with people, but you can't be an introverted, shy person if you want to do a launch. There has to be a channel you're getting out there so people know who you are. So it doesn't necessarily have to be social media. It could be a massive email list. That would be far more valuable. But you have to have somewhere where people know about you, hear from you regularly, so that when you put out the word, people listen. So these 1,000 true fans are the people who download or buy it on the first day, making everything easier. So here are some sites you should be building lists on. So pretty much everyone should be building some sort of following on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email, and a viral relaunch campaign. For most products, I would probably say Instagram too. And also peripheral sites, depending on your audience, so Pinterest, Tumblr, Periscope, and so on. Facebook is the biggest driver of any site ever. So the first and easiest way of getting traffic from Facebook is your personal profile needs to be your professional profile. You don't get to have a private life if you're full-time making this project launch happen. Everyone is on Facebook all day. Facebook is the reason we care about things like Brexit. None of us watch the news, but people are continuously talking about it on Facebook, so you cannot escape it. Everyone from the top CEOs to the youngest intern is on Facebook all day. So if you do a status update, then people are likely to see it. So you have to build your personal network, and this is where your 1,000 true fans will begin on Facebook. You also need a personal network to post in the Facebook groups. Groups are the last place on Facebook you can get free traffic. So what you want to do is tap in your niche into Facebook, find all of the groups, find the admins of those groups, and then find all of the other groups that they're in by clicking on their personal profile. Join all of those groups, and then you should have between 25 to 35 different groups of over 800 members. So when you have launch day, you can put that link in all of those groups that people know about it. You should join those groups and get traction by saying, who's on Twitter, here's my handle, follow and I'll follow back. Just put your handle below, everyone will do it and it will build your page rank. So building a Facebook page is important because you'll need to retarget people to that page. The only problem with building a page is people can say yes or no to the invite if they even see it. But if you invite someone to a Facebook group, they are in it by default. They then have to opt out. So if you and your co-founder both have 500 friends, then you will have 1,000 people in that group in the first 2 hours. So invite everyone in, they will then have to opt out, and then you can have a group around your niche. So don't have it your brand name, have it whatever your industry is, such as fashion or music. And you have to post it at least once a day to begin the community, and after a little while it will take on its own life. This is the Facebook newsfeed. So this is how Facebook chooses what to show, what goes in your feed. So firstly, interest. How interesting are you? Very interesting. Do people generally like, share, and comment on your posts?
Yeah, all the time.
Excellent. So you want to be like this guy. If your posts get likes, shares, and comments, then Facebook will show all of your other posts to more people. So don't be putting out posts that get 0 interactions. Secondly, the type of post. Whatever Facebook has released most recently, it will put highest up in the algorithm. So if you are putting live video, that will get shown to a lot of people you're connected to. Below that, if you do normal video, that will get shown to quite a lot of people. Then text and photo, and finally external link. Facebook's always hate external links because it causes you to leave Facebook, and Facebook's one job is to keep you on Facebook as long as possible. So by having posts that are not links, they'll get shown to a lot of people. So where possible, don't have a link to a blog post, just put that text or that picture into your Facebook feed, and it'll get shown to a lot more people. You go on any big page and look at the interactions on a video versus a text or picture post, and you'll see that the text and picture post get shown to a lot more people. Recency is the area you have the most control over. You generally want to get 10 likes or comments in the first 10 minutes in order that it gets shown to a lot of people. So you might have noticed when there's been a baby or a wedding, that's glued to the top of your feed, because as soon as it came out, a lot of people liked and commented. So your content needs to be as good as a baby or a wedding. If you can't do that, then I would suggest doing a thunderclap. So thunderclap is an incredible device for tricking Facebook into thinking what your content has is going viral. So thunderclap is when you and all of your friends agree to show a post on Facebook at a set time. So you create a status update, this product is out, it's going to be amazing, whatever. You invite your friends to do thunderclap. If 100 people agree to do it, then it gets released on Facebook at the exact same time, so that you have a lot of things hitting Facebook at the exact same moment. It thinks something's going viral, it shows it to a lot of people. When we released our thunderclap for our Kickstarter, we had a total addressable market of 330,000 people, and we made £2,500 in that hour because so many people saw our post. So Twitter. Twitter is my favorite social network. There's so many ways of getting at someone. You can follow, favorite, add to a list, retweet. That's 4 more ways that you can get at someone than you can on Facebook. And Twitter, it's expected that you reach out to people you don't know, and because a tweet only lasts between 8 and 17 minutes, you can post a lot to Twitter. On my Twitter feeds, I was posting once every 30 minutes, 24 hours a day for the entirety of my Kickstarter campaign. And about once a week I got a, you're posting this too much, I'm not following. Meanwhile, I was getting a flood of traffic from Twitter, and it was almost our highest referrer for traffic. So for me, the whole point of social media is to get traffic to your website so people can buy something. Especially at the stage we're at, if it's a young company, you can't eat off brand awareness, engagements, and interactions. You need to eat out of people converting on your website. So the whole point of social for me, get that traffic, get the email, get them to convert, whatever. So it's really vital when you're using a platform like Twitter that you post a lot. And you can reach influencers a lot easier on Twitter than other platforms because you just have to search what their details are to find them. So this is audience, this is the best Twitter tool of all time. You can search by gender, job title, location, whether they're a company or a person, like excellent targeting. So log in, put in your Twitter account, search who you're searching for. Let's say it's a product for musicians, you just type a musician. And it brings up all of these people on Twitter. So there's like 500,000 musicians on Twitter. So that's a hell of a lot of people you can target out of what you're doing. So from here you can follow them, you can add them to a list, you can basically find all of these ways to get in front of them. You can look at who's tweeted in the last 15 days, they're super active. But from here, you can start building a list of people who are interested in your product. So you can build that pre-launch campaign or get to them once it goes out live. So if you want to find super targeted people, you can build that list in Twitter. You can export to a Twitter list. You can export about 3,000 people a day using Audience. Then go into that list on your Twitter and manually follow about 100 to 200 at a time. And these are people who are guaranteed to be interested in what you're doing because you search through their bios using Audience. So if you have a brand new Twitter account, don't follow more than 50 to 100 people a day for the first month. Second month, 100 to 200 a day. Third month, 200 to 300. And because you've hyper-targeted, there's a good chance your fallout rate will be high. So when you're reaching out to people who haven't heard of you before, you don't want to go buy my stuff. The best way of doing this is to give them something for free. So a free sample, so free chapters if you're doing a book, first access to whatever you're doing, free gifts, or they get pay-per-tweet.com, they get something in return. So in our case, if you join our pre-launch campaign, you've got a free chapter of our book, How to Get Press. So through this, whether they pay for the product or not, it doesn't matter. They get something for free either way. So LinkedIn, if you have a serious product you're launching, something in the recruitment space or consulting or some heavy business space, then groups are the best way to reach thousands of people. The bad news is groups are full of spammers and some groups are closed to new members, so it may take a bit of time to find the right people. But once you do, every time you post into a LinkedIn group, it'll get seen by all of those people. Instagram, somewhat niche specific. So I don't think every company needs Instagram, but the easiest way of getting high engagement is you get the influencers on Instagram. So Ninja Outreach is how you find influencers. So go on here and tap in your niche, and it will find you all of the. Oh, I've been in America for like 3 months, so I'm going to say niche instead of niche. I can't convert that. Ninja Outreach is how you find influencers. Just tap in your niche, and it will find all those people you can reach out to. If you do written content on Analytica, copy and paste your article in, and it will scan it for keywords and find all the influencers who've used those keywords recently. So you can reach out and say, hey, I saw you just released an article on Bitcoin. I wrote one also, you should share it. Audience, again, will help you find Instagram influencers. So you can search for whether they're a boy or a girl, a company or a person, and how many followers they have. And if you're just starting out and have a low budget, I would say between 10,000 and 50,000 is the best way of getting followers from influencers who don't cost too much. But for really, really big effects, probably over 100,000 followers, which probably costs more. Email is the #1 traffic source. It will provide you a huge boost in traffic and revenue. Someone said to me, you can have a massive Facebook, Twitter, email, Instagram. I would always choose email. People are in a different frame of mind when they open their email. They're in work mode, so particularly if you have a product which is related to work in some way, there's a good chance they'll convert. On social media, they want to see BuzzFeed articles, pictures of their friends on holiday, complaints about Brexit. So they don't want to be talking about products when they're on Facebook. But everyone has to check their email every day. The old saying is people under 25 don't use their email, and that's true until they get a job. Now they're just like everyone else and have to check their email. So shout-outs are critical from your personal network. So I think part of our secret sauce is, I don't think anyone with a massive social following shouted us out, but we got co-working spaces to shout us out. We got accelerators to shout us out. We got sub-influential people in the founder startup space, people from the networks we were connected to, Camden Collective, all of these small places full of entrepreneurs. We got them to give us shout-outs in their email newsletter, and all of them contributed bit by bit in the lead bullet style to success. This is Hello Bar. If you have a standard website and you want to collect emails, this is the way to do it. So you add it to your site and it collects emails automatically. So people just leave their emails. The two best call to actions are 10% off if X, and we've written an ebook on Y. So 10% off anything in store when you sign up to a newsletter. Or if you don't sell something, we've written an ebook on the 10 things everyone does wrong in our industry. Give us your email together. This is Email Hunter. Type in any company's, so anyone's web address, and it will find all the email addresses of people who work at that company. So if you want to sell to someone and don't know how, this is a great resource. Once you have that email, I wouldn't recommend cold emailing. The response rate is just so small. What you want to do is use discover.ly, and go on anyone's Facebook profile, and it will show you all the LinkedIn connections you have in common, friends, Twitter, all the Facebook connections you have in common, and so on. And from there, you can get an intro. It's a much better way of getting an actual response. So a company who did a Kickstarter had less than 1% response in cold emails, but 50% when they were getting warm intros. It makes a massive difference. So quickmail.io is something that I wish I knew about 6 weeks ago. So I noticed every time we did a mail out, the number of replies started to go down because we were hitting the promotions tab on Gmail. So I was like, how do we make sure our emails get to people? So we started emailing everyone individually, one by one, every time we had an update with people who were most interested in what we're doing. So this took a lot of time, but it worked. So we saw our revenue start to spike after we did it, because people were absolutely receiving our messages. Every single one is coming from Gmail, not a MailChimp or a mail server. So quickmail.io is fantastic. It sends all your email mailouts from your Gmail, not from some random mail server which 100 million other people are using. So by using quickmail.io, every person gets a unique email. It lands in their inbox, not their promotions tab, so your response rate and open rate is going to be far better. I would make the claim that using quickmail over MailChimp without being all of that A/B testing different titles, A/B testing different fonts, everything. This one thing, because it lands in the inbox rather than promotions, will massively increase the number of people who see your email. Kickbox will get rid of your broken email addresses. So if you have a lot of broken email addresses, so people who have left the company or people who mistype their email address, then you're going to bounce a lot of emails and you'll get sent to spam a lot quicker. So Kickbox is well worth doing, only $10 for 1,000 emails. Of all the things we did to make our Kickstarter successful, I would say having a viral pre-launch queue was the most important. So most people, when they start a campaign, they do a standard landing page, give us your email, we'll let you know when we launch. This is bad because at the very moment people are most excited about what you're doing, you are cutting off that flow. So with a viral queue, you say you are in 500th place in our queue to launch. If you share it with your friends, if you like us on Facebook, if you follow us on Twitter, you move further up the queue. And in order to incentivize those people, you want to put gifts at the top of the queue. So free samples are good, receive our product first is good. So whatever your product is, have those benefits. So we'll write a blog post for you, free consulting time with me, free webinars, free entrance to a secret Facebook group. Ideally, you want to have things that don't take up too much time or effort. So for instance, a lot of people do t-shirts for Kickstarter. It's a waste of time. There's basically no margin on them, and it's a real hassle to get them built and printed out. You want to have things that automatically scale, so bonus ebooks or PDFs. Once you create it once, it will scale even if 1,000 people buy it. So our pre-launch queue, so we only invited 1,500 people, and that doubled to more than 3,000. So we doubled the amount of people who were talking about our product we actually only launched this 3 weeks before the Kickstarter launched because we decided to do it last minute. So if you were doing a 3-month campaign, you should be looking at 5,000 people in that queue, 10,000 people in that queue. So every week it was very last minute. But yeah, this meant that on day one, all we had to do was do an email to everyone in the queue saying, right, we're live now, and we made £10,000 in the first day. So when you have a viral pre-launch queue, people are hyped about what you're doing, people are talking about what you're doing, and then they buy it. So in terms of what should be in the emails for that viral launch queue, you should buy a book called Product Launch Formula by Jeff Walker. It's the strategy we use and it works really well. So it's basically you're going to send people free emails before you launch. The first one says why you're doing it. So in our case it was, I can't believe how many people come and see me talk. I can't believe how little people know about user acquisition. There's a real need here. But as someone who runs a marketing agency, only a few people can afford to pay me, so this book was a way of giving out my knowledge to as many people as possible. The first email was about that. The second is what. So what is the product? So in our case it's an ebook and a video course. We're going to go through step by step everything you need to know about growth hacking, how to do Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SEO. And then the third email is how do you buy it? So it's coming out in 1 week. It'll be available on Kickstarter. You pay by credit card. It should be out by July. And then the fourth email is we're live now. Check it out. So it's a very simple process. It takes advantage of psychological triggers of excitement, social proof, scarcity. So if you've never written those emails before, that's fine. The product formula goes through it step by step. So you have all this data on all the people who have used your pre-launch queue. So we had over 20,000 social engagements, and we didn't really put that much effort into do that. It gamifies itself really well if you have a product people want, people will be excited to share it. So we use Queue.com, but they don't quite have a general package for all startups. But you can use Matra app. It does pretty much the same thing. They've had over 1.2 million people go through their system so far. So it's a viral waiting list that you use, it costs like $50 or less. I have a discount with Vincent 25. But if you want to build a viral waiting list, this is the way to do it. People are really scared to ask their friends and family to help them on new products. This is a very bad thing. For whatever you're doing, you should be able to get the first 500 email signups at the very least, if not more. If not 500 people talking about your product, sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, if not buying it. So the way you can do this is message all your LinkedIn contacts in batches of 20, message all your Facebook friends as a private message, tweet all your Twitter followers one by one, and email all your contacts one by one. If you're not prepared to do this, you're not ready to launch a product. Friends and family are people who are going to help you the most. So by getting in front of them, there's a really good chance you'll start a conversion funnel. So this is your community management cheat sheet. So this is all you need to do in terms of basic social media. If you do this, whether for your company or for your launch, you pretty much don't need to hire someone to do social media for you. So you want to use Buffer. Buffer is social media software. It has really easy features such as what time you want the post and what days you want the post to go out. It's like TweetDeck and Hootsuite. I just find it's a better product. So by using Buffer, you can send to Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Google Plus all at the same time, so that it's a massive time save. So you want to block out 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock every Sunday night and do your money post every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10 a.m. A money post is when you're asking for something to do with your company. So check out my event, check out my blog post, we have a new product, check out our website. You do that because people go to work at 9 a.m. and they tend to work for an hour, then they go on Facebook all day. So by having that 10 a.m. post, people are like, this is vaguely connected to my work, I'll check it out. So send it to all of those networks at once. And then at 5 or 6 o'clock, when people are fed up and they want to go home, you do a fun post. So a viral meme, a quote, a funny picture, so that people feel relief. They click like, they comment, and that drives your page rank up because people see your money post in the morning. You can send a few more tweets around that. You can also set up your peripheral networks, Instagram, Pinterest, etc. You can pre-post at Instagram using later.com, so you don't have to physically be there. You can set up your Instagram post for the week. And write your mail out on Sunday. So people tend to think, oh, I'll just do my mail and I need to send it out, but then it's so busy in the week with all of your other work, something never gets done. So by doing this, you pretty much have everything covered in your community management, and then you do the fun stuff, which is just checking in throughout the week and see who replied. So here are some crowdfunding essentials. What I would give advice about when you're starting out something new is firstly do a lot of research. So when we decided to do it, I spent a week just researching how to do a Kickstarter campaign so that I was not in a position where I didn't know anything. And secondly, people like Anthony Robbins and Tim Ferriss, when they want to learn something, they speak to the 5 best experts in the world about it, or the 5 best people you can find. So So I spoke to someone who'd done multiple Kickstarters successfully, and a lot of these tips he gave to me. So firstly, approval can take a week on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, so start early. Do not do it the day before you launch, because it can ruin your whole launch strategy. You only need 50% of your target hit in the first day, or it's a long journey to success. It's better to have a lower target and hit it early. When he was struggling with some of his campaigns, he found a lot of people were visiting his site saying, you may not hit it, I'll come back later, and then of course they forget about it. But it's better to have a lower goal that you hit so that the entire journey is a party. Say thanks to every backer within 48 hours. He was telling me he was shocked because so many people got back to him and said, you're the first person to ever message us after we backed something. And people have backed a lot of projects. But I think a lot of people who do Kickstarter are complacent. And the reason you do this is it reduces the number of people who cancel. So between them pledging and a month later, when that money's taken off their credit card, they can have expenses come in, anything could happen, so they can cancel it. But if you've already started a conversation with them, that reduces that rate massively. Introduce new rewards and stretch goals during your project. This will keep momentum up and people will upgrade to the higher tiers. What you want to have with Kickstarter or Indiegogo is a no-brainer package, and this is basically the one you want everyone to commit to. So you can have a basic version of whatever you're selling, but have a no-brainer package and fill that with as much value as possible. So fill that with things that scale really easily, such as ebooks or live Q&A that everyone can log into a Google Hangout or webinars. So all of these things don't require much more effort once you produce them once, but you can stuff them into the no-brainer and get everyone to do that. So that by far was our highest level, the no-brainer. Cross-promo other Kickstarters, so find other people doing successful Kickstarters and message them saying, can we swap a shout out in our newsletter for a shout out in yours? Good update is when we show what you're working on. So we're doing this, what do you guys think? Also milestones, so 50%, when you did it, etc. You can use QuickCast app to create short videos so that you know the people who have pledged the most will be really happy with you. And send them to a viral queue out in the thank you message. After the campaign, I would suggest having a post campaign. So the best way of doing that is Indiegogo in demand. That's the one we're doing right now. So a lot of people think when their Kickstarter finishes, well, that's the end of the traffic. But it's a really bad mistake because people don't check their email for a few days, people don't check their Twitter, their Facebook. So your Kickstarter page actually receives a good chunk of traffic for at least a week after it finishes. So we had the second the Kickstarter ended, we sent them to our Indiegogo in demand, which has made thousands of dollars since. So that's all the traffic that hits your Kickstarter, and they're like, oh, where can I buy this? There's a big blue button saying buy it now. So can go to a personal website or to Gumroad or some other site where you're selling it, but have somewhere that you can go straight afterwards. So as a general rule, PR, if you're doing a quirky product, is the best way to hype your Kickstarter. So I know the rest of this talk has been about how to get it without PR. But as a general rule, if you're doing something like a physical product, PR is fantastic for getting that flow of traffic on the first day. So your technique should be, go on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, search all of the similar products and look at all the places they got PR. The way to do that is do a reverse image search on the picture that's in Kickstarter and Indiegogo, put that into Google and you'll find all the places that covered it for press, as well as anywhere that they included on the Kickstarter. Then get a list of all those journalists. You can hand that to a virtual assistant, a virtual valley, really good virtual assistants, and then they can find the emails of all the journalists. Then you can say, I saw you feature a similar product recently, we're launching this, would love for you to cover it, if possible send them out a free sample. But what you want to do is have as much press as possible, receive information about you in advance, and you want everyone to feature it on the same day, the day your Kickstarter goes live. If you've ever seen a Kickstarter have an absolutely massive first day and you wonder why, I guarantee it's because a load of PR has done it. My friend just done a Apple Watch competitor and she made $100,000 in the first day and she gets substantial press behind that. So you have to get all that press lined up. So on day one, it hits everywhere, that surround sound effect, and then it hits home. Press power will help you find journalists. So you just do a search for your niche, so sports, fashion, gaming, whatever, and it will find all of the sites who cover that. Paid press will find any journalist in the world, so you can very quickly say TechCrunch or their name or what they normally cover, and it will find those journalists. So when you're overwhelmed with tasks, as you should be when you're doing a launch campaign, split your to-do list into things that directly make you money on that campaign and things that don't, and only do the sites that directly make you money. You'd be surprised how much stuff can wait till later. So I'm going to meet interesting startups founders who are looking to scale, anyone looking to do Kickstarters and needs Skype consultancy. We don't actually grow the campaigns, but I can go over it with you. Also for places to give talks and meetups. We have a conference company called Secret Source. And my book on growth hacking is available on Kickstarter, available on Indiegogo right now. So step by step for SEO, content marketing, social media, and so on. So thank you for listening. I'd like to open it up to questions right now. And if you want slides, hit me up on vincentmagnific.com. Cheers.
We already have one.
So a lot of what you said is based on digital products and books. Do you have any advice to offer for someone who's launching like a physical product like a bigger retail fashion store? So I'm not sure how a lot of this is applicable, and I have read the product launch formula and I felt the same thing after reading that.
So the reason digital is so powerful is scale. You really would struggle in real life to get the buzz going if you're just one person. But if you're one person with social networks, with email lists, with user funnels, then you can get a hell of a lot done to get people to that real life store. So for instance, you could hold an event, get everyone's phone numbers and use Snapchat to get them live alerts to get them come into the store, live alerts when you have new fashion, live alerts when you have 2-for-1 sales. So this will facilitate being able to do things a lot faster. The alternative, if you really don't want to do anything digital, is to go out 7 nights a week and network with influential, rich, powerful people. I did it recently in New York, and it can happen really quickly. So you can do it without social if you network with the right people who are connected to PR, connected to powerful companies. Give them value, something they want, then they can shout you out. But for the most part, so much can be done digitally. If a retweet can reach 1,000 people, that's so powerful. To reach 1,000 people in real life without social would be so difficult. So all of this can work agnostic of what the product is. Like, I haven't even really talked about what the product is. I presume it's a good product, but all of this can be pointed at anything. Yeah.
How do you qualify the lead? So for example, you mentioned several times, get the email and try not to complicate things with many questions in a form. But how do you then follow up and qualify the lead and focus on quality instead of quantity, which is an issue, for example, when business has?
So, specific to which channel?
In general, obviously online,
So-
ebooks, like, how do I qualify the lead?
So I think it's specific to what channel that you have and how you gain the leads. So I gave a lot of talks, and this provided a lot of leads who were relevant, interesting, growth hacking, so we wrote a book on it. With Twitter, there's 2 ways of getting at people: looking in their bio, using audience, and also looking at what words they tweet, using TweetDeck. So by this, you can tell that they're interested in what you're doing. With Facebook, likewise, building a personal network, and people would only join the Facebook group if they have an interest in that. So for whatever channel, it's fairly easy to work out what those relevant leads are. What's more difficult is when you're using mainstream things like magazine ads. So all of these channels are hyper-targeted. I mean, as you get bigger and you're targeting bigger channels, then they tend to work a little less. But yeah, you should just have a feeling for what channels work. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, great talk. When you start making people aware on social media about the programs, so what's that tendency to
So,
You talk about 3 months, 6 months, but like,
so I think, like, immediately, even if you're looking at 6 to 12 years, start building your lists. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email. Start building those now, and where possible, give as much content away for free. This is really counterintuitive, and I know most of you are probably thinking, I won't do this. Like, I'm not going to write blog posts for free. I'm not going to put on events for free. But if you appear from nowhere, no one will care. So start building your list, and maybe 3 months before you can start the viral waiting list. Yeah.
Start making people aware 3 months prior.
Yeah, I would grow that list in 3 months. And it will gather speed over that time until the very end when it launches. There's no golden rule for doing it. If I was doing a Kickstarter again, I probably will launch another book early next year. I massively increased the amount of time we took on it. We did everything at the last minute, so it was very quick learning. But yeah, I would definitely do 3 months. But having that network of people who care about what you do is so important.
Hi. You mentioned a book about the product launch formula. What was the book?
Product Launch Formula by Jeff Walker. Yeah, there's someone down here. Oh, is there someone down there? Yeah. Alright, down there.
Hi. What's the best way to build a landing page that with a high conversion in terms of like buttons and things like that?
Use unbounce.com. $49 for up to 5,000 visitors a month. $100 a month for like 25,000. Unbounce does it all for you, so you can know technical skills.
Great talk. Something I wanted to ask, so if you, say, launch a product or testing an app trying to get email sign-ups, and you've had some response, but you haven't had an amazing response, it's been kind of middling. Do you have any advice on when would you decide to cut an idea you've got that isn't getting a fantastic response, but it is showing mediocre progress? That seems to,
I think you really have to go with your gut. If you have a few people who are really excited, and if you have organic things happening, like you see people on Facebook posting it that you didn't ask to, that's a really good sign. And this again is why I'm a big fan of building up your personal Facebook network. Facebook is completely closed and private. So if you're not friends with anyone connected to this product, then you won't see it. So yeah, I would say organic, Twitter and Facebook. And that's the good thing about that viral launch campaign. It gets people to share for you. And then you can start talking to the individual users and seeing if they're interested. It's difficult to tell the exact number, but it is possible to launch it. But sometimes you just have to use it. Yeah.
Hi. You mentioned launching 4 accounts. What would you brand them the same?
So you could have it company info, company team, company UK, and company something else. The point is you can grow 4 at once, you can follow 4 times as many people, reach out to 4 times as many people, so that you can get between all those 4 accounts something approaching decent traffic. So I had my 6 main accounts posting every 30 minutes. So just constant traffic to the site every single day.
Okay, and when you finish the campaign, is there a way software to condense them all into one without using forums from the other accounts?
Yeah, you can say follow this main account, but people generally don't because you're eating traffic from 4 channels. Why would you reduce it to 1?
Okay, thank you.
Abdul from a startup called Pass the Popcorn. Vincent, thank you for your talk. Really good, thanks. But I've got 2 questions for you. One is, which social media platform do you think you get the most click-through from? And the other question is, what practical advice would you give to startups like mine who want to get press releases out to journalists? Would you just send them constantly, or how would you go about getting a press release onto a desk of a journal?
Okay, so in regards to the first question, that's a really good question. By far the best way of getting clicks is Twitter. but it's dying. So it really sucks. Twitter by far is the easiest way to get clicks to your website. Instagram has much higher engagement because you can't put links in pictures. You've got to get them to your bios, it's an extra step. Snapchat has no clicks at all, and Facebook you can't build on zero budget. So if you have a budget for advertising, even if it's quite small, Facebook is the king of traffic and always will be. So if you can put aside £1,000 a day for your Facebook budget, that is enough to get a strategy going. So what you want to do is put $5 a day on ads, and have 10 different ads with different copy, different pictures, and just log in every day and see which ad got the most clicks, and then delete the ones that get 0 clicks, and then double down your money on the ones that do, like a gambling strategy. And eventually you get to a point where you have 2 or 3 which are getting enough clicks to make it sustainable. I've spoken to internet marketing experts who make millions of dollars, and I met someone the other week who makes £100,000 a month doing things like this. And there's no secret sauce. It really is just great copy and ads, which is a good thing. Because I said, why don't more people do this? And he said, they're lazy. The second question was PR. I'm not an expert on PR, but the reason I haven't done PR is I'm lazy, and I hate doing anything that's manual. But the manual way to do PR is you have to have personal relationships with the journalist. You have to start building those relationships weeks in advance before you try and drop them something. That really is the best way of doing it. Instead of people like you. The shortcut if you can't do PR is to do content marketing. So prepare 20 articles in advance and then send them out to Huffington Post, Text News, Text UK, or anything relevant to your niche. You're giving them free content, there's a much bigger chance to get on the site. Because even if your product isn't newsworthy, you can just find the most controversial thing in the industry and then talk about that, and then just have hidden in there one link to your project. Yeah.
Great talk, thank you very much for it. So you've mentioned that you met with a lot of influential people in New York, and when you network aggressively, you can easily meet around 200 people a week. So how do you select these people after that and maintain a relationship with them?
So I didn't say 200 people a week, but so in the example of New York, my flatmate was somewhat related to the New York nightlife industry. She'd been in Sports Illustrated, she designed some things, she was hanging out with Alicia Keys' husband and stuff like that. She took me out on the first night, I met someone more important than her, and then I went out with him for the rest of the week, and he introduced me to more people, modeling agencies, lots of other stuff like that. So if you genuinely meet influential, powerful, rich people, and they like you and they take you out, then you can meet more of those people, which then has an angle into press, whatever you're wanting to do. It's an old-fashioned way of doing things. It's no more or less powerful than this stuff. If you're naturally outgoing and social and you can charm people, then it's a fantastic way of getting large reach. Like I always say, the reason I'm giving this talk is some people just can't get press, some products can't get press. So this enables you to have it in your own power. But where possible, yeah, the traffic press gets is amazing.
Hi, Vincent. Actually, transitioning off that question, Mr. Spartan, I went to your talk on Wednesday at Idea London, and after your 2 talks tonight, I've come to realise that you're the type of guy who has this wonderful ability to not care. I don't care if I'm a nuisance, I have to do what I want to do. If 100 people unfollow me, it doesn't matter, because 1,000 people have followed me. Is this a skill that you think you were born with, or have you acquired this over a period of time? And does it only work for a certain product, or can it work for everyone?
So is the question the skill of not caring?
How do you do that?
I was thinking about this on the way here. Like at Secret Sauce conference last Friday, I couldn't not give a talk on Brexit because it was just so happening. So I think learning one of these skills and having a I don't care attitude, very soon it's not going to be something you can choose. Like wages have not raised since 2008, jobs have not returned to the rate they were as in 2008. And now it would appear that things are only going to get worse. So learning all of this stuff and being self-sufficient, I think there's going to be a massive chasm between people who understand tech and know how to do this stuff and everyone else, because there's going to be so few jobs. So for instance, one person in the government said, we're still going to let immigrants into England. They can only work, they can't get any other benefits, which will be like the Mexican people in America who will work for $1 an hour. So that's going to undercut even more people. So the whole system is going to get worse. So you won't soon get a choice. You will have to do such strategies. So you may as well start to learn now. And all humans have a thing where they want to look good. So you don't want to appear to be talking about yourself too much, talking about your products too much. But the more you do this, the more you realize you can get away with a hell of a lot. You can send your message out over and over and over, and the blowback is so small. So Ryan Holiday wrote a book on how to get PR, and he talked about journalists getting things wrong. So they will post anything in real time, even if the facts aren't correct. And if they get it wrong, they get to do another article saying correction, getting more page views for that. The punishment for getting caught is very low. So through all of this stuff, which isn't in any way illegal or wrong, it's just a perception people have. Having sales skills is not something anyone is born with, which is why I always tell people to start by pricing really low if you're launching a product, and then increase it over time. It's really easy to increase your prices. When I started coaching, I was coaching for £99 for a month worth of coaching. So a very low price, but it meant I had 19 paying clients in the first month. I got comfortable asking for invoices and closing. So yeah, I think it's something you need to train yourself how to do. I don't think anyone is wrong with it. Yeah.
Hey, love the talk, really useful. I was wondering, are there any new emerging social networks like Periscope or anything like that you think are worth getting on now, and maybe by being less competitive you can build like your own brand much more effectively by getting there early?
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's something a lot of people are talking about. Gary Vaynerchuk said it's worth joining all of them because 1 in 10, if you become an influencer early on, it will be worth all the time putting the other 10. For me though, I can't see any conflicts. And as someone who's starting a company, you need clicks to a website. It's not good enough to get engagement. I mean, Instagram does have 20 times engagement, Twitter, but likes don't pay the bills. So Snapchat is probably the best one, but that really depends on what business you're doing. Unless you're somewhat good looking, people won't want to watch videos of you. Ditto Periscope and Facebook Live. I don't know how much you can really Snapchat for most companies. If you're in the event space, you can post your events, that will look cool. Restaurants, you can send messages out getting through the door, but for the most part, all you're ever really doing is working on a laptop and eating donuts. Like, that's what most companies do. So what can you Snapchat 7 days a week to get that consistent content? I still think those 5 I mentioned, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and email, that's more than enough for 99% of companies. The fastest growing network is Musical.ly right now, but the average age of that is literally 12 years old. But that's where you will find influencers cheaply.
Hi, let's look at that. I said last Wednesday, and I think you said that you shouldn't do any of this until you've got quality product market fit, and we want to get people in front of you, right? Is there any sort of channel or hack or service that you recommend while you're still searching to improve or prove that product market fit?
To improve your product market fit, you just need to talk to users. Put up a landing page, see if they sign up. That's the acid test. And ideally, if you're selling something, put up a button where they can buy it, even if it's a fake buy button, and people click it. That's the only way of really knowing. Any other questions?
Hi, Connor.
Right.
Yeah.
both. But Kickstarter post-launch, does it have a post-campaign?
Kickstarter don't have a post-campaign. We chose Kickstarter over Indiegogo because Kickstarter has bigger network effects. So network effects are number of people within Kickstarter who find out a project from within Kickstarter. So we made about £8,500 just from people buying it within Kickstarter that we otherwise wouldn't have made. So Kickstarter is a much bigger site than Indiegogo, so it's much bigger network effects. Indiegogo contacted us. We were just going to put the book on Gumroad anyway, but then we got Indiegogo and we've made a few thousand on Instagram already. That's off Indiegogo internally. So definitely Kickstarter. However, hardware products that go down really well on Indiegogo, that might be the exception.
So did you increase the threshold for your funding, or did you consider...
The Indiegogo campaign is ongoing.
No, I meant for the Kickstarter. Did you, when you reached your threshold, did you think, okay, should I continue increasing it? Should I raise when?
Once you set the date, you can't change it. You can't push it on.
Okay.
Where I was actually looking, I would have liked to, you can't. Once you set the 30 days, that's it. Thanks for coming to all three talks.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for this talk. Actually, I have a question. Let's say you have a product which is designed for a very, very specific audience, let's say academic institutions. Does it make sense that you target general public with it at all? And what would be the best way of targeting your narrow band audience, actually, if you know?
Knowing where they hang out and then reaching out to them. So it could be Twitter, could be Instagram, could be nightclubs, could be startup events. You just have to go and be everywhere. Like my first startup idea, me and my co-founder Lewis, it was market research for nightclubs. No one was doing it. I'm not sure anyone was doing it. So we went to Fabric on a Friday night between midnight and 2 a.m. and we were like interviewing people. Like it was a big hassle to do. We went to Head the nightclub. We interviewed people there and giving us data to the nightclub. The startup idea didn't end up going anywhere, but that's what you need to do. You have to go wherever you're going to get that feedback. Like in my case, I give all these talks, I meet all these founders, so I know what people want. And likewise, the idea I have for modeling agencies just came about organically when I was in New York. They have a very specific pain point, and I may be able to solve it.
My question is about the interface between personal and professional Facebook profiles. I'd always unfriended people who I actually knew in real life. Last week, following your advice, and after releasing a short comedy film that I made about Brexit, I reappropriated some funny visual content, and it went viral. And shortly thereafter, I started getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of friend requests from randoms. And my gut reaction was, well, I don't know them, so I'm a friend them, but they were following me. What are your thoughts on that, as a friend or follower? Would you just friend everybody, or do you just leave them as followers? What's your thought?
You raise a good point that should have been my deck. Turn on following on your Facebook. It's not on by default. I only turn on that. I thought it was natural. But yeah, I think that's an example of why you should let them be friends with you. The main reason you want lots of friends is that every time you release something, if you have a lot of friends, someone's going to click like. The more people that click like, the more people it's going to show it to. That's the main reason you need that. So definitely accept them. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the name of that? Just that social network you spoke about over there.
The
new social network. I can remember the
musical.ly.
Do you have any digital products ideas?
Any digital product ideas?
Well, you have ebooks, right? What else do you think is a good idea? Or
what ideas for companies that I'm
talking about things about to sell online, digital.
I don't quite understand the question, sorry.
There are digital products, like ebooks. Is there any other digital products that you think are viable to be sold over the internet?
I think anyone can really write an ebook and make money from it. The startup costs are so low. Is that what you meant?
Yes, but another example is ebooks.
Webinars. People pay for webinars. There will be. I mean, software as a service is the best thing that scales. So that you can have a product idea in there. It doesn't cost you any more.
Thank you, Vincent. When you mentioned email hunter, you also mentioned another software to go further.
Then what was the first bit?
When you talked about email hunter,
Yeah.
then you mentioned another.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Scarcely or something like that.
Discover.ly. So you put that in your email and it shows you how you can connect with people.
Hey, Vincent, great talk. Quick question. So you mentioned that a percentage of your backers came from your own network, and then a percentage came from Kickstarter. Is there a way of increasing that percentage on Kickstarter, as in by trying to reach more of their audience?
Yes, absolutely. Get as many people to donate on the first day. Well, actually, there's about 100 parts to the algorithm. It's a bit like Google's algorithm. Get as many people to the back on the first day, even if it's just £1. Get as much traffic to the page as possible. Get as many social shares as possible. Get as many links from other websites as possible. So sending it as much traffic as possible will move you further up the queue. And that's a good way of getting it. We ended up trying out paying a company to put us in the top 20, but it didn't make much difference. But yeah, it's well worth doing, understanding the algorithm and trying to toy with it. Yeah.
I'll come back to you. So you've been talking about Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's similar when people launch Crowdfunding or Seeders campaigns? And with that, talk about there being a split between people who obviously brought, followers who brought to the Kickstarter campaign, what have you, and there being people in Kickstarter already who are then backing as well. Do you know if it's a similar kind of split on Crowdfunding or Seeders?
I have to be careful not to get sued, but I have heard with fairly good authority, all the equity crowdfunding sites have very, very little network effects. Crowdfunding, Seeders, those two. I don't know about the American ones, but just heard from a few different data sources, they don't have very much network effects. Unless you're one of the killer ones and they put you in the email and stuff. Yeah, I have a very close personal friend who thinks equity crowdfunding is about to implode because no one exits. There's been one exit on the likes of those platforms for like 1 or 2 in 5 years.
They're saying bring your own investors.
Yeah, and then at that stage, do you really need them? I mean, for a startup idea, you really should just be able to build a product, get users, and get investment. There's still so much SEIS money in the UK. If you have like a killer round, then you'll probably get good network effects. Mondo probably got great network effects, but yeah. Kickstarter, if you can do Kickstarter, that will be the best. It's one of the biggest websites in the world.
Very insightful talk, Mr. Thank you very much. I have 2 questions. The first one being, so if you have a website and the main mode to promote your website is to search engine optimization, all the things that you sort of mentioned out here, they're pretty much part of this. When you talk about websites, all these search engine companies such as Google keep on changing their algorithms. I mean, after every 5-6 months. How do you keep up with all these tactics that you mentioned about? Suddenly the algorithm changes and then you have to retarget everything in your campaign. If it happens within when the campaign is run. And the second question is, basically, I mean, a very foundational question, like, how do you make people like guest lost to you? I mean, since maybe you have a trust of 1,000 people, but still they might be not having time to write that stuff for you. I mean, how do you go on a further?
So I didn't talk about SEO because generally it takes a bit of time, and this talk was intended for anyone launching in the next 3 to 6 months. SEO is the best form of traffic you can get. People are typing in a very specific thing, they go to a site and buy it. SEO is amazing. I'm going to try and do more of it sometime soon. Basically everything I spoke about is generally algorithm agnostic. All of these strategies will work regardless of algorithms. And the reason for that is, it's like people say, 400,000 hours of video go online every day, so it's noise. But very simply, if you have people on your Twitter, Instagram, email list, they're going to see your post and click. So it doesn't matter how much noise there is, you'll get to see that, although things like Twitter reach is declining. As for guest blogging, I'm not a massive fan of it because everyone's doing it, and there's so many failure points. The article has to be good, then the title has to be good, then someone has to okay to put it on their blog, then that blog has to get enough traffic, then enough people have to click through, then enough people have to convert. It's too many steps. It's so much more simple to get an email or Twitter and just send them a message. So it can be good, but it's like run every day for the next month if you want to get fit. The learning curve is so steep that I think most people won't be able to do it. So I don't think it's that big unless you know the sites and you know the traffic.
Okay. Just a counter question to that.
Yeah.
So if someone very influential, like you talk about in the fashion or modern industry, does that for you, I think that could be a deal breaker for you, considering that the person has a lot of other contacts that they can talk about it. I'm thinking an example. I met with a salesperson who just did 1 deal a year and literally blew it completely. Just 1 deal a year. So you never know if you talk about that one person that writes the guest blog for you, it could be your deal breaker as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, but it's a lot to risk a whole company on. And I think if you have a business where one sale is worth £100,000, then your model's different and you're optimizing for that one thing. But in a general launch strategy for a product or app, you can't have all of your eggs in that one basket. But yeah, like my agency only ever has a few clients at one time paying a high dollar amount. So we optimize for that until we can book and I recognize very well. But yeah, it just depends what your model is. We'll take 2 more questions.
Hi, Vincent. Great talk, by the way. I've been to one of your before, they were awesome.
Thank you.
So our product is actually our content. So people are used to receiving that content for free. And now we're trying to have events where we would get them to pay the tickets. Do you have any advice for how we would get people that are used to receiving our content for free to then kind of pay for it on like a one-off basis?
Well, it's something that's close to my own heart, having run a SQL Source conference. You're in London, I presume? Yes. So one problem with events in London, there's just so many of them, that it's hard to get people to pay unless you have like the CEO of Google, like Startup Brian did. So with Secret Source Conference, we've gone down the sponsorship route, so we can make thousands of pounds of sponsorship for people who want to reach that audience. So last Friday we had a lawyer company, a company that teaches people to code, a company that is an app, so you can rate pictures, and a company where you can have live polls in real time, and another one called Money Penny, but I forget what that one does. We had lots of different sponsors that all wanted to reach our market. So that's how we monetized, we kept it free. As a general rule, like as you as an entrepreneur, your model might be the same as mine. Give lots of talks for free, maybe blog for free. I've been a bit lazy around blogging. And then people hire you as a consultant, people hire you to come into an office and train people, like I do with corporates and stuff right now. because that's how you monetize on that. But there's also the counter theory that people value something more when they pay for it and more of them will turn up. But I just think it takes so long to build a swell of free users. Like for the music industry, it used to be once you have 50,000 fans, that's the tipping point where you'll start to get signed and so on. And also, until 5,000 people care about what you're doing for free, don't try and monetize.
Thank you for your talk. It's only the level that you said, I don't do social media, that level. If they want to start and reach the level of the networks that you're talking about, and quick tips get the level of I don't do social media.
Well, you don't have to do social media. Like, I don't really do it. I just give talks to people ask to work with me. The point is you have to have one big traffic source. The person who doesn't do social media, if they have friends who are the head of BT, BP, Intel, massive companies who can get the word out to people, that will be fine. But you have to have something that will be a traffic bomb. And if you don't have those contacts, or you're not prepared to go out and network to get them, then using these methods, you can build it yourself. It's smaller, it has a lower ceiling, but you're in control of it. If you put more hours in, you'll get more followers and lists off the back of it. So you don't necessarily have to, like some business-to-business companies, social media just won't matter. You'd be better off taking people out to lunch, or waiting for Wenchel, who can get them to the right networks there. But you have to find someone to turn the traffic tap on.
If you want to use social media, start from a level where you have no contacts, and then bring it up. Is there any quick tips for that?
Yeah, buy my book. The book didn't exist, that's pretty much why we built it. It's step by step. Here's how you do this, here's how you do this. And then that will do it. I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you.